I would like to start with the presentation of Distributed Open Marketplace for Europe, so the DOM project. The DOM was funded under Digital Europe program and is creating a single point of access in Europe for trusted cloud and edge services across different domains. But I'm not the one to know a lot about it yet, so I would like to invite Jesús Ruiz, technical leader of the DOM project, to join me on the stage. One round of applause for Jesús.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I know this is terrible, okay, after just having something and has been a very long day, but I'm trying to do this as fast as possible, but as knowledgeable as possible. So, many of you probably recognize these two documents, and probably some of you have collaborated in the development of these documents. One is from 2021, the European Industrial Technology Roadmap for the Next Generation Cloud and Edge Offering, and then from the Cloud and Edge Alliance. The second one is more recent, last year, 2023. So in order to explain what DOM is, instead of using my words, I'm going to just quote almost literally some text in these documents. Basically, the industry was asking for having a common European marketplace for cloud and edge services. Sorry, I'm going to read, okay, because I don't want to use my words. To serve as a key enabler crucial to deliver on the European Union data strategy and vision to, first, facilitate adoption across Europe of cloud and edge services that comply with the European regulations, European Union standards, and also with user expectations in terms of data sovereignty, security, portability, or energy efficiency. And then this will contribute to breaking down silos between national and sectorial markets across the European Union, and also accelerate the integration across the continent. And the aim is to serve the entire European Union market, public administrations, private sector, including, I would say, mostly small and medium enterprises. And such a marketplace would serve as a one-stop shop for cloud and edge applications from all providers that abide by European regulations. So buyers know that the regulation is achieved. And it would level the playing field, read, against hyperscalers, and lower barriers to entry for smaller service providers, which are very important in Europe. Under the most simple format, so the first step is to aggregate compliant, so trusted and compliant services into openly accessible certified catalog. Of course, with a search function to locate, to discover the service. And second step, beyond this, to provide brokering features to facilitate transactions, buying, selling, and so on, between providers and customers. And the marketplace should enable multi-tenancy, in the sense that the service catalog would be technically common across Europe, but allow different entities to operate the marketplace for different user bases. So this is not a centralized thing. This is not the new Amazon, to clarify this. For example, member states, not just private sector entities, member states wishing to have their own marketplace for their national public sector consumption of cloud and services according to a specific framework contract, which may be different from country to country, could operate an instance of the marketplace and thereby still access the same service catalog instance of the marketplace. So it's a federation of marketplaces. And a network of connected instances could thereby fit into a meta service catalog. So we have a catalog, which in reality is composed of a meta catalog. And of course, open source, open APIs, and then also transparency for services, specifically to be able to verify provider authorizations and certifications, whether the service of a provider complies with some certifications which are required by the European Commission and the member states. Finally, early onboarding of a significant set of providers and users will also be key to accelerate the achievement of a critical mass. I will come back later at the end of the presentation asking you to help into this project. So those were their, let's say, the needs and the requirements, and voila, DOM. DOM is a Digital Europe program with a budget of 40 million, with 50% of funding, so this is a public-private collaboration, let's say. And with 38 partners plus 5 affiliated entities, 3 years. We are just in the middle. We started in January 2023, and it's going to end at the end of 2025. We are just in the middle, and we have started already production, but only with the catalog, not with the procurement, not with the brokering feature, which is coming very soon. But right now we have a catalog. And we'll evolve. We have still 1 year and a half, actually right now, a little less than 1 year and a half, to evolve. So we still have budget for executing something which are in the roadmap, but we are open to feedback from the users, from you, from the entities that requested DOM. So what we want is to serve your needs, okay? The roadmap again, we are in 1.0, the version 1.0, which is just the catalog. This is open. This is free to publish, so you are invited, all of you, to join the DOM marketplace. It's free, and then you can publish your service. So we are not going to implement right now, or you are not going to be able to, let's say, contract via the marketplace, but you are going to be able to expose your service to the pan-European audience. So this is just very good, okay? Then we are adding the procurement process, okay, in version 1.1, and then at the end, new features, new and advanced features. I don't know if this is readable. Yeah, okay. But in any case, by the end of 2025, the project will have to continue as a self-sustainable initiative. That means no public funding beyond 2025. So it has to have their own revenues and sustainable process. Sustainable is the critical word. Again, this has to be for all of you. The scope of functionalities which are already included is just the catalog. So you have the whole map of the current functionalities you see in green. The catalog management, marketing and communication, security and trust. So this is from the beginning, then the quality of service, and then the infrastructure. Everything is in place. Actually, we have developed most of the other things, but we are going to be deploying in production in phases. And this is it. I mean, this is just a little more technical figure, but if you see on the left, this is the DOM instance. Remember from the requirements? This is not a centralized catalog where everybody has to connect. This is a federation of marketplace instances. And the catalog is shared, but it's not exactly the same because you have, well, this is what we have already developed. This is already in production, the thing in the left, together with the replication mechanism. We still don't have any marketplace which is federated. Anybody is open to do this. So you see that we have providers in the DOM instance. Providers can already register their own services. They have to comply with the requirements. Then customers can look at the catalog, and then they will contact you as a provider. Okay? But then the next phases is the federation of marketplaces, which is a little more complex. And then the catalog data uses a common data model which is replicated, and then every instance is operated by an independent entity, maybe a member state, maybe a private entity, with their own customers, providers, their own users, their own requirements, their own regulation. Okay? But everybody has to use a common model. This is the catalog. So from the surface, it's like a normal catalog. This is the current instance that is being operated by the DOM operator. Okay? So not a surprise. I'm not going to enter into the functionality because you see categories, then you see here some companies, you see Ionos. In the very near future, we are going to see RCs, okay? Because right now it's onboarding. And you can be here. But this is not the more interesting things, because this is just a catalog. What is underlying this is the most interesting thing of DOM. First, decentralized replication, because we want this sovereignty also of the marketplaces. So we have to implement a replication mechanism which is centralized. We don't want a single point of failure or control. But in order to achieve trusted decentralized replication, because we don't have a central entity controlling everything, we need to agree on a common data model and common APIs so we can exchange information and we understand the same thing, so a common ontology or semantic model. And we have chosen the TM Forum data model, which many of you may also be familiar. And this is just in red, the subset, because the TM Forum data model is big, is flexible, so you can choose for your implementation, is just is an open API. So is data model and API driven? So this is not driven by an implementation. We could have taken an open source implementation of a marketplace and then try to do this, but we chose to use these APIs and then build on top of this, because this is key for replication and then understanding the messages exchanged between the marketplace instances. This is just a dashboard to give you an idea of the usage of this open API. So you see here the downloads this month, the month of May 2024, 16,500. Then certifications. That means that there are companies which achieve the certification because they want to provide services. Okay, to who? To the companies that are using this for implementing this in production. So we, DOM, are using something which is already being used, not for exactly the same purpose, but for providing catalogs and products and so on. Okay, so we expect that the industry will not have any problem in using these APIs, which are exactly the same one that we are using. And this is the data model that I will not explain. Just maybe briefly to say that the upper half, okay, is the product offering, and the product catalog is what we have already implemented in production, and you can look at this. And then the side on the down, okay, the half with the consumer is when we add procurement, then we have ordering, product implementation, delivery, and also product usage, okay? And then we have contracts. But in order to do this, okay, we need more than just the data model. The data model gives us a semantic, the same semantic meaning for the objects that we exchange during replication, but we need an identity system which is common for all entities, all legal entities across Europe. And you know what? The European Union is doing this. Actually, we have already the EIDAS2 regulation, which is not just the common European, the future common European digital identity for citizens. This is the most complex thing, but also for legal entities, okay? And by the way, almost all companies here will have to implement this in less than 3 years since the implementing acts get into force. Right now, the implementing act, the regulation was published on April, but then the clock starts ticking after the implementing acts are in force. They are in public consultation right now, so expect the clock to be ticking right now. So it would be compulsory for all entities, not just the public sector, but all entities in the transport, energy, banking, blah, 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 and digital infrastructure to accept this, if the citizen or the company, the customer, wants. So you better start implementing this, because 3 years is nothing. And what we have done in DOM is already implemented this, not for citizens. So we have already in production the digital identity of an employee representing or acting on behalf of a legal entity, which is similar but different. So we are using exactly the same technical specifications, which are not 100% finished, but they are very, very finished in this reduced scope. Okay? So this is already. We have defined what is called an electronic mandate or electronic powers of representation. So inside a verifiable credential, if you don't know, this is a legal document which is represented in JSON instead of a PDF. Think of a PDF. When you have to act on behalf of your company, you need the authorization of the legal representative of the company. Okay? So this is done with paper right now. Here, digital. And in DOM, you cannot do anything else, okay? So this credential allows an employee to act on behalf of an organization for a specific set of activities, not for everything, okay? And this is machine readable, machine processable, machine verifiable, so you don't need back office. It's very efficient, very secure. And the legal representative of the company delegates into the employee a set of limited powers just for this. In this case, it would be to operate in DOM, to perform the onboarding process. We know who are you and that you have the powers of representation for making the onboarding, so you don't have to bother your legal representative. And then also that you can publish products, because this is an act that binds legally your company, okay? So again, with a verifiable credential in your mobile, you log in, and then you can operate. And the verifiable credential has to be signed, has to be electronically signed with an eIDAS certificate, okay? Which is also part of the strategy, the digital strategy of the European Union, okay? Because electronic signatures is the only known way to achieve real 100% interoperability in the digital world, okay? Now, this is just explaining the technical, how it works. So we have an electronic identification, which is a certificate that, I mean, if a company knows how to sign a PDF, then you know how to do this. If you don't know how to sign a PDF, don't worry. In DOM, we help you, because we have the services to help you on this process, and then to act as trusted entity to provide the credential and then perform onboarding. But essentially, the legal representative creates, instead of a PDF, is a JSON document, a verifiable credential, digitally signed, and then we accept this as a legal document, okay? By the way, this also can be used, or we are using this not just to empower or to authorize an employee to act on behalf of the company, but also a machine or a service. So services have also this type of things, okay? And this is the overall thing of DOM. You see the core functions, which is the market data, okay, the data model on the middle, the screens at the top, so the user interface, support functions like knowledge base, chatbot, search, analytics, ticketing, blah, blah, and then on the left, the things related to identity and onboarding. So we have onboarding and compliance both of the company and of the service. And then a wallet. We in DOM provide a wallet if you don't have one. But if you have one which is compatible with the European Union Digital Identity Wallet, you could use it. Probably some things will have to be touched, because right now the market is not mature and interoperability is a problem, but you can use any wallet. And this is how the replication is achieved. So there are 3 layers. The marketplace business layer, very simple. We use the TM Forum data model and APIs, so we speak the same language. Then we have the catalog replication layer, where the technical components use the objects and the digital identity of the companies and the digital identity of the services to send and receive data which cannot be forged, cannot be tampered with, because we use electronic signatures, okay, with eIDAS certificates. And then whatever, okay? As I said, this is an open wallet, because in order to log in DOM, you cannot use user ID and password or any of the traditional identification mechanisms. You have to use a wallet compatible with the European Union Digital Identity Wallet. We in DOM have one, but you can use any of the ecosystem, okay? Most companies right now will use our wallet because it works, it's fine, good enough, and this is not fantastic, but it's good enough, okay? But this is not enough, the identification of the employees and the companies. We need the certifications. In order to publish a product or service in the catalog, you need to prove that you comply with the European Union Cloud Rulebook. Well, not really. That was the original intention, but right now it is still not ready. So what you have to prove is that you, as a service, your service, complies with some certifications that we have implemented here, okay? But in theory, well, in practice, the certifications that DOM requires are not defined by us, are defined by the European Commission and the requirements for trusted services. And we need, in order to replicate, to demonstrate or to prove that a given product, an object which is sent via electronic mechanisms using digital signatures, that the ISO 27001, for example, certification is right. Imagine how do you prove this right now? With a logo in your website? With a PDF which is not signed and then can be faked? Well, no. In this scheme, replication, not just replication, it's also for the customers. So the customer can verify that the certification is real. But the instances don't have to trust each other. So we lower the level of trust between instances, because at the end, the communication is digitally signed, and the certifications, the fact that your service or your product complies with ISO 27001 or any other, is digitally signed, and in a machine-readable way. So we use verifiable credentials for the services, and then this is there. And we are aligned with the Gaia-X objectives. We are not compatible with Gaia-X today, because we had different requirements. For example, that we needed a level of 2, okay, of Gaia-X, the one on the right. But we are, as we speak, we are just in the middle of this alignment with Gaia-X, okay? Pierre, I don't know, oh, he's not here, okay? So we expect that the next iteration of the verifiable certifications, as we call this, verifiable certifications, is a certification, an ISO certification, which is verifiable automatically, okay? So we have this process. I'm not going to explain this, but at the end you have a compliance profile for your service that is published and is verifiable. And the idea is that in the future, the certification agency, TÜV or any other, will issue to the CSP the verifiable credential, and then in DOM or any other who wants to accept this type of credentials will accept this. In the future, but today in DOM, but not exclusively, we are providing what is called a trust service provider for certifications, which in reality converts PDFs from CSPs to verifiable credentials, which are the ones that DOM accepts. And this is the last slide. So this is DOM Marketplace. There are many other things, but this is not an initiative from one single company. This is for Europe. So let's build together a common European marketplace. Join now. You can publish your services. It's free and very easy. Join and federate your marketplace if you have a federated marketplace. If you have a data space, you can even use this marketplace and participate in the evolution of the DOM marketplace. And by the way, something that we have to do is to collaborate with Simple, because maybe we have some synergies. And as I said the last time, we are in the day-to-day. We have to be forced to talk. We want to talk, but we are in the, we have to collaborate. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Jesús. We, of course, have time for some questions. Yes?
Oh, no.
Thanks a lot, Jesús. So we discussed a lot about DOM, but I have a practical question. You told us that it is basically cloud and edge services, but it may be the case that in some cases the DOM or the marketplace fall under the DGA, the Data Governance Act, data intermediation services provider, or not? Because it is the case with some catalogs that we are working on. In some cases, if you are putting in contact providers with customers,
that's a good question.
In some cases can fall under DGA, and in some cases can be categorized as a data integration service provider. So I don't know if you have checked internally in the project.
I didn't check. I would say just on the spot that no, but we have to check. Okay? Because in principle, this is just as any other marketplace where a service provider publishes, and then, okay, we put in contact, but we don't intermediate right now. In the future, yes.
Depending on the nature of the service could be the case.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
No questions? Okay, then everybody's going to join?
Thank you very much, Jesús, once again.